Today marks the anniversary of the day that I purchased the Triumph Tiger Sport 660. So I've had it for a year now and about 7,000 miles or so. So now it's as good a time as any to talk about how I've lived with this bike for a year, all the pluses, all the minuses, all the quirks, basically a long-term 1-year review. I want to start with all the bad things, all the things that I don't like about this motorcycle that I have to live with. These are the things that aren't necessarily deal breakers, but they're annoying enough to mention. I've mentioned some of these things before in a previous video, you can see it right there. They haven't gotten better. Some of these things I've fixed with aftermarket parts, and some of these issues I'm just gonna have to live with. Issue number one is the gearing for the first gear. It's just useless. It continues to be an issue. It's not something, I know I'm complaining about it. I know I can do something about it. I know I can swap out a gear. I'm not gonna do it. I just don't care enough about it, but it's worth mentioning. How to avoid this issue is just by not using gear one, or just live with it. It's kind of what I'm doing. I don't, it's the last time I'm gonna mention it. It is what it is. Issue number two, no cruise control. How do you deal with it? I'd use some other aftermarket parts, throttle locks, they all kind of suck. The one that's a cramp buster, that's a little bit better, but that just assists you and kind of alleviates some of the fatigue as you're rolling on the throttle. A throttle lock is a little bit something a little bit different. The ones that kind of like rotate and you put them down and they stay in place, they're garbage. Don't even bother, don't get them. Atlas throttle lock, that's something I'm gonna test out and see how that goes. The biggest difference that I'm making to this bike is that I'm turning into more of an adventure bike. It is a sport touring model to start with. Triumph is very clear about it being made for the road and not for the off-road. However, that's not what I want to use it for. I do want to use it for some gravel road and some dirt road riding. It is more than capable of doing it. I had proven that to myself by taking it off-road unexpectedly on my 4,000 mile trip that I took. It did just fine, on street tires no less. The idea is that I'm gonna change out the tires. I've already done a few modifications to it. Put on hard luggage, engine guards, new pegs, a bash plate, different brake and clutch lever that are adjustable. They're little things, but they do make the bike a little bit more adventure appropriate. Some of the things that I do still love about it is I love that engine. That triple engine is just beautiful. It accelerates really well regardless of what gear you're in. Tops out over 100 miles per hour. Don't ask me how I tested that. It's so great that Triumph is now releasing a Daytona 660 based on that same engine, which is really funny and full circle considering that the original engine is a retuned version of an old 675 Daytona. Don't get me started on it. The brakes, still very good. The dual rotors in the front, more than capable of handling anything you can throw at them. Love them. The front shield, perfect. You just have to get it into the right spot so you're not getting buffeting from the wind. However, it works, it's great. It's keeping the wind off of your chest. It alleviates fatigue during longer trips. I love it. I'm curious how the adventure pegs that I put on, how they're gonna do as far as comfort. They do have rubber on them that are removable. I'm hoping they dampen some of the vibrations. There weren't that many vibrations to begin with from that engine. However, if you're riding 400 or 500 miles a day, you are gonna start to feel them. I'm also happy to note that Triumph had fixed the heated grips issue that they had. It's basically a firmware update to the TFT, and once that's updated at your local dealer, your grips should work just fine. In fact, they get too hot. Overall, what a machine. I love it. It's light, it's nimble, it's fast, it's comfortable. I did put on a lower seat on there. It does have a little bit of less padding on it. I am gonna go on a trip in a month or so and test that out and see how that's gonna be. We'll see. To make it a little bit lower, they do have to scoop out some of the padding, obviously. so it's probably going to be a little less comfortable, but let's see if it makes a difference for someone who's 5'7", 5'8", shorter rider, wants to be a little bit more balanced at a stop. Overall, I think Triumph knocked it out of the park. It's a great sport touring bike, perfect for longer trips, especially if you got the luggage on them. Great for commuting every single day to work if you really want to. It's peppy. The gripes I have with them are very minor, and for the most part can be fixed with aftermarket parts to tailor to your personal tastes and wants. Thanks for viewing this quick kind of like state of the union for the Triumph Tiger Sport 660 on my channel. Stick around. There's going to be a lot more content. I'm going to be doing some ADV stuff with it. We'll put it through the ringer. All the mods that I put on, we'll test them out and see how they go. So here's to the new season. Thanks for watching. Ride safe.